Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In our last video we started working on our old engine bay cover, which needed a serious amount of attention. We started by cleaning off the old teak and then give the whole thing a good clean down with the power wash. Next we sanded the old fiberglass, cut reinforcement panels from marine grey plywood and glassed these all into place. So let's carry on where we left off last time. Okay, so we left this overnight to set up and really happy with the way this turned out. We've got this part here, which is actually where the engine cover sits on, the engine hatch. This was actually had actually dropped down, so we wedged it from underneath and we wedged it here, and then when we've laminated it and pulled it over, it's actually pulled this back into line, so that's now looking nice and straight, which is exactly what we wanted. So we're happy with the way that's turned out. What it has also done is, because it shrunk slightly, I don't know if you can see this with the camera, but it's just pulled that in just a little bit. So what we'll need to do is, we've got some pieces of wood, and we have got some 6mm of marine ply to go on the inside of here that we're going to laminate in. So we'll clamp that to that and pull that back. So that's fine. It's all hidden anyway, that, so it's not really that important. We want to get it nice and straight. And same deal here as well. So we've put a piece of timber here. We've got our 6mm marine akume ply, which is going to be laminated on the inside, and that'll pull that up nice and straight. And then we've also cut this piece as well, which again we need to laminate in. And we've got the same issue over here. So this piece here we've got wedged up at the moment because this just wants to drop down. If I take this out, I'll do it. There you go. That just wants to drop down, and you can see it's not straight at all, it's twisted. So what I'll do is I'll pop that back in there. But when we laminate it, what seems to happen is the laminating actually shrinks slightly and it pulls it back over. So we should be able to get that nice and straight as we did with that piece over there. So that is all fine. So we'll get our pieces of wood cut so we can do the clamping, and then we're going to just get this trimmed along here just to tidy that edge up. And then we've got a little bit of grinding to do here. Just going to grind the rest of that crack out there, and then we can start getting these pieces of ply and this all laminated into place. Quick update, so we've cut all of our fiberglass ready. That's 600g chop strand mat. We've cleaned all of this inside here, so just a quick sand hoover and some acetone. And then I've also cut an extra piece of akume plywood just to go in here, so we'll glass that in as well. So I'm just going to mix up some resin and we'll get all of this glassed into place. Okay, so the top here and these two sides are now done. In fact, we've just flipped it over through 90 degrees because we've got this piece to do next. It's going to be a lot easier if you can work with this flat. We've got a piece of board to go on there and we can put some weights on that. But yeah, we've got all this side done with the ply in there and this piece here and down here. So we've got this area now just to fill up with a couple of layers of the chop strand mat. We've got some thickened epoxy to go in here because our new piece of reinforcing ply runs into that, and then we've got 3 layers to get on here, and also we've got this end to build up. We've actually got a corner missing here, so we're going to have to build that up a little bit as well. We'll just use a bit of tuck tape here so we can just work to that. The resin won't stick to tuck tape, so that just gives us a nice flat surface to work to. We now have a fully strengthened engine bay cover. So this is now really solid with these plywood reinforcing strips or pieces in. This was all really flimsy before and it's absolutely solid now. And we've also got the end here where we've got the corner missing. In fact, we've marked it up ready to cut. So that's also nice and solid. We laid about probably 8 layers, I think it was, on the end there. So yeah, nice and strong that. So what we need to do now is just come across with a multi-tool and just trim off all of our wispy bits, and then we'll go round and give it a sand as well. That looks so much better now. So been around and cut all the excess fiberglass off and then sanded all of these edges, and we've got those nice and flat now, and just put a bit of a round edge on it as well, so it's just a lot easier to handle. To shape this corner as well, so this will need some gel coat on the face here, but we've got the basic shape that we want now, and then done the same all around these edges. So what we're going to do now is pop this back in the boat and just check that it fits okay. Okay, so that's a really good fit. We've got a nice consistent gap all the way around here, all the way around the back. We've got just standing up a little bit just over on that corner, about 10mm or just under ½ an inch. But that's fine, it's because it just needs trimming on the underside. So once we've done that, that will drop down and that will be absolutely perfect. And underneath here, you can see that this is nice and straight, and also this here is nice and straight as well. That fits really nicely. We've just got a little point here where it's touching, and that's what's stopping the end going down. So once we've trimmed that back, probably 5 or 6 millimeters, that end will drop down, so that's all fine. These are your bolt through points here, so once that's pressed down, be able to bolt through there. It's also not see-through anymore. There's a couple of bits where this gel coat repairs, but other than that, it was completely transparent pretty much before, so that is really good. We're really happy with that. So what we'll do now is take this back out, get the trimming done on the bottom here, and also then start grinding out all of the repairs on the top. So we are back down in the workshop, and we've just marked with a straight edge the line here that we need to cut or sand, just so that that end will sit properly when it's in the boat. Well, I'm happy with that. We just drew that line, and then we used some 80 grit in the sander and just took that down to the line. Took about 3 or 4 minutes, and it's nice and smooth, nice and flat, just follows that line perfectly, so that should fit as we want it to now. So what we'll do is flip this over and we'll start looking at the damages on the top side. Okay, quick update. So we've had a couple of hours on this, sanded all of the non-skid off here, and then we've ground out these dry patches as well that we had, and also the stress cracks. So these have all been ground out down the front here as well. Rich is just cutting some chop strand mat to go in these holes, and we've also ground down this front edge here. So we're just going to lay some mat in these sort of deeper areas, so maybe someone here, got a little hole here, so we've just dished that out, bit of glass in there, definitely some glass where there was these stress cracks. Build this up with probably 2, 3, maybe even 4 layers of chop strand, and then that should make that nice and strong. Okay, we're back on this engine cover this morning. So our repairs, chop strand mat repairs have all set up. So we've got this corner here, we've got a split here, we've got these holes, and we've also got quite a big split over this side that definitely needed reinforcing, so that's all fully reinforced. Looks a mess, but once we've sanded that down and faired that will all be fine. And same over here as well, so we've got some low spots which again want trimming and sanding. And Richard's also just removed a screw that we missed, so we've got a screw on the corner here, so he's just drilled that out and we've got that out, so that's all good. Yeah, so we'll get this all sanded and prepped, and then we plan is to have this sprayed with new gel coat, so hopefully this will look like a brand new part. After an hour of sanding, that's looking a lot better. We just used 80 grit sandpaper in the random orbital sanders, and all of these areas are nicely scuffed up and nice and smooth, all the excess resin gone. If anything, we've just left them slightly low, because what we'll do now is fill these with polyfair fairing compound, and Rich is just giving everything a quick wipe over with acetone just to make sure everything's nice and clean, and then we can get that polyfair on. Back on this engine cover this morning, we put 3 batches of filler down on here and sanded, and we've still got quite a bit more filling to go, so we've missed some deep scratches here that we need to fill, a couple over here as well, but we've got most of it now. This end is looking really good. We've got some where we've done the repair here on this corner, we've got that nasty split, that's looking really good now. We've got a nice shape to that. The holes that we'd filled in with the chop strand mat, they're nice and flat. So yeah, just a couple of little dinks really to sort out. Also got a piece down here, again the corner that we'd redone and repaired, that's got a pretty good shape, so a little bit of a sand and I think we'll be there with that. So yeah, we'll get this all sanded, and then we'll get another batch of filler down. So we've just knocked all this back with 120 grit. Rich is just mixing up some more polyfer, and we'll get that laid down. As I said before, we've got these pits and hollows, quite a few of them. Scratch here, low spot here, and a few sort of pinholes and little defects. Back edge is looking good, so this will be on show, and these corners are looking good, so probably just got some tiny little pinholes in here, but other than that, looking really good. Okay, so that's another batch of filler down. So we'll just leave that for half an hour, and then we'll be able to sand that again. So just while we're waiting for that to dry, Richard's just putting some plasticine on our engine bay hatch, access hatch. So he's just putting that plasticine down the corners there. And the reason for that is because we have got the original cover, which is just here, but it would probably take us a good half a day to get this teak off. This teak is really well stuck down. This hatch is actually bent as well along its length, and it's full of splits and cracks and chips and defects. So actually, to get that to the condition we'd want it to, and probably take a good 2 or 3 days, and that's even if we could get that bend out as well, which we're just not convinced we can. So yeah, what, a couple of hours to knock this mould up, another hour to get the plasticine in, and then a bit of wax, we'll have a brand new pot. So that's the plan. Quick update, guys. So this has been now waxed 5 times, so a couple more coats of wax, and that is ready. And then we've also, this has all now been fully sanded. All of this is now really nice and smooth, so really happy with the way that's turned out. And Richard's just going over it with some 120 grit all over the top there. And then what we're going to do is drop this part and the mould for the engine bay hatch over to Melton fiberglass. They're going to mould us the new engine bay hatch, and he's going to spray this in gel coat for us. Too many repairs really now to do spot repairs on here. It's actually easier just to flat it all off, and then we'll get it sprayed in gel coat, and that will look like new. Okay, that's going to be a wrap for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next one.